I can go to that house today. Like, I can show you what house that is, and go to that house. And I knocked on the door, and the person answered the door, and I gave my speech that scouts were collecting bottles, and the guy's face lit up, and he says, "I've been waiting for someone like you for years." And he opened his garage door. He said, "Go around to the garage." And he opened his garage door, and his garage was a 2-car garage full of beer bottles. Beer bottles are the 10-cent ones, and 5-cent little plastic bottles, the big 2-liter things, like those are a pain in the butt when you're doing these bottle drives.
Many jokes are coming to mind.
You can fit like 20 cents of bottles in a big bag, but when these beer bottles came out, we brought them back. That one house was like something like 760 bottles, $760. So I was the hero when I bought, like, our scout troop bought like 3 brand new tents with that money. And they were all like, "Oh, Adam's guy. Adam, did you hear about Adam's guy? So I felt amazing because I made the connection to the person that helped our scout troop buy 3 new tents. Mm-hmm. So from that day, I had this passion of connecting with people and selling stuff, and fundraising is very much like sales. It's the same thing. You approach somebody and give them your speech, and they either donate something or they don't. So that's just a little story from my past that what he was talking about made me think of. So that's where I
caught the bug.
That's how I caught the bug, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was a little older, I was selling chocolate bars in parking lots. When I was like 12 years old, I was, keeping $1, selling them for $3. I got to keep $1 off each one. And I was the richest little 12-year-old you ever saw. So, I was always into the hustling and working for I always wanted to work for myself, but I never really had the faith to believe that I could. I didn't know what I was good at. There wasn't anything that I was good at that I could live off of. I was good at making sales, but I didn't have anything to sell.
I don't know, for me, man. I just feel that I'm pretty good with money in general. I have a good relationship with money, but I don't know if I had things like, I started making t-shirts at 18, 16, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't I was selling them. Yeah, it was my first business and stuff like that. I don't know. It's so strange. It's not like I was fully into hustling. Mm-hmm. And even now, people think I'm such this hustler. It's nah, I gotta just fuck around and it works. You know what I mean? I'm just blessed that I'm the jack of diamonds. You know what I mean? Money finds its way to me. Swear to God, sometimes it's just if I'm in a good mood, that's when sales happen.
Yeah, it's true. I'll
some
totally
sort of metaphysical thing. It's
that's why I delete Jackass's comments, because if I'm in a better mood, I'll make better decisions all the time. No matter what the decision is, if I'm in a good mood, I make a better one.
But think about this. I don't have a website. I don't have Wi-Fi at home. And I find it weird when people are because they literally say this to me, that I'm such a hustler. And it's you don't understand. I'm actually the laziest hustler. Because I'm not even trying that hard to make your fucking sales. Mm-hmm. I'm really not trying. Mm-hmm. I could be hitting you up and being "Hey, I saw that you liked that thing. Give me your cash money now, and I'll send you fucking things." Instead, I'm "Oh, you like that thing? Hey, listen, bud, give me $10. I'll throw in some shirts. Hey, you know what I mean?"
For me, learning how to sell art was a whole different thing. And when I say I'm good at sales, or I was good at sales, it doesn't mean I automatically, you put me selling.
Translating that to art, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't at all. But because I knew from previous items and things and programs and whatever that I had sold, because I sold a bunch of stuff. I sold credit card insurance when I was younger. I sold debt consolidation. I sold online ads. I even sold deer hunting blinds for a week or two at this one place, which is the most ridiculous thing to sell on the phone.
Deer hunting blinds.
Deer hunting blinds, yeah. They got their leads of people who subscribe to, I forget what hunting magazine, and then we call
woods. You're in the woods.
No, it's a thing that you could install up in a tree. So when you were deer hunting, you'd put it up in the tree. You'd hang out about 20 feet above the forest floor, so deer aren't really looking up for humans with guns. And they were $800 or $900, and we got I forget what it was, $40 commission or something. Anyway. long story short, for every one of those things that I sold, I had to learn how to sell it. So when it came to learning how to sell art, I learned about telling stories. I learned about being consistent in style. I learned about how to price my art. I learned about how to network with other artists by collecting their art. I learned how to build a website and how to try and have a presence on many different social medias, because all those social medias have different audiences on them, so it'll get your art in front of different people. I learned how to do art fairs. I learned how to sell at art fairs, because renting a table and putting your stuff on it at an art fair and not talking about your art and sitting there with your arms crossed all day looking at people walking by going, man, these people don't buy anything. Well, that's not going to sell you any art. I
did a fair with him once. He said 2 things. Stand up. Well, don't go to the bathroom is one that I did not take. But
that was because I was sick.
But not just... No, I think that had to do with the sickness.
Partially, but yeah.
Okay, because I felt like this man is not leaving because their $5 could be made, so I'm not going to pee. You know what I mean?
That's part of it.
Okay, so don't go to pee. Optional. The other 2, stand up, make eye contact, and talk to people.
Introduce yourself before they say something. Oh, bro, I'm
telling you do that, you do those 2 things. Don't sit the fuck down, okay? You stand up, and you talk to people night and day at a fair. Night and day, and literally I did the opposite just to see. Night and... I'm telling you, do it too. Night and day. You're going to lose money if you sit down, though.
Yeah, you're going to
But you'll prove to yourself that it is.
Worse if you sit down with your arms crossed. That says you're unapproachable and angry and grumpy.
And after this, I would go to other fairs where he's not there, you know? And sometimes I'd go to fairs...
Looks like my head's shrinking leaning back.
I'd go to fairs and people would be... Dude,
I want to do the rest of the podcast like this.
People would be sitting, they'd be drinking a beer. Okay, so they'd be sitting down at their table drinking a beer. Like, they got other things to do. They're already off the job. They're drinking a beer. So I was next to them the whole time. I don't even know if they made a dime.
No, I'm always next to people that don't make any sales.
If they made a fucking dime. And eventually I told them the secret. I said, stand up, talk to people. And guess what happened? They made their fucking first dime.
I literally had people next to me at art fairs that started at 10 a.m. and by noon they're like, I've heard you say your story so many times that I could say it myself. I'm like, that's funny. I haven't heard you say your story once.
Yes.
I wonder why you're not making any sales.
Ooh, spicy. Okay, so how important is story in the selling of art?
The story is the art, because people don't buy art. Okay, some people do. Very rarely people buy art just because they like it and they don't care anything else about it. They just want to have that.
Yeah, that's cool.
But then there's another...
The story would help, though.
There's another 80-90% of people that will buy your art that they buy it because they're connected in some way to the story, whether it's because they're connected to you as a friend or as a social media follower.
Maybe you're Mondo Maestro and you just won't stop commenting.
Maybe that. Maybe they've... In my case, maybe they got through drug addiction and they know what that's like and they want to support the courage I've had to turn my life around and put myself out there in public and talk about my struggles in the past and not be ashamed and hide it and stuff like that. So there's a million reasons somebody can become emotionally attached to the story around the art that tips the scale from I like it to I have to have it.
Yes, but not just one piece. I think that's what I'm witnessing other artists who have the story. They understand that a story sells, but they believe that a story is one piece, and then they're like, this piece, and they make it about a thing. It's not really the piece.
Mm-hmm. He's right, yeah.
You are the piece, and after that piece, you're going
to
make another piece.
Is
your
the
style,
piece, the consistency,
the mediums that you're using.
Say, for example, each story has a piece, or each piece has a story. Okay, but after 20 pieces, it can also be the way you write. It can be the way you photograph them.
So that's why I got
There's
pollution
all these
now.
things, and that's something we didn't really talk about is branding as an artist.
Okay, so let me do this. Like, I'm wearing a pollution shirt. Before pollution was ever a thing, there was Coke, and then Coke became Coke Air. All these things are umbrella terms for my interpretation and spin on Western media. In the sense that, like, people love Nike, and they love Coke.
Do they? Or do they think they do? Because
they think they do. You know what I mean? Society is making us think that we like these things. So my idea of comedy is a parody of that, which is like their pollution.
My idea of
Their
comedy
pollution.
is also a parody. That's why I made those infamous bootleg Jesus shirts.
But with this branding, when this is my storyline, this is one of my philosophies is that ironically we pollute and that's lame. So let's just fucking have it on a shirt so we all remember that pollution is lame. But with that in mind, you could do so many jokes with pollution. Mm-hmm. So there was Flame Boy the other day, which is an old graphic, an old Coke graphic, and it could be retaken, put under the new brand, which is Pollution, which is also Coke. I just don't want it to be called Coke because it's weird. So now it's called Pollution, and with Pollution, I can have all kinds of new graphics, old graphics. I can bring them back in under one branding. Is the thing that I'm trying to get at, and that's the story of Pollution.
Germ's brand isn't cream or Pollution. Germ's brand is Germ.
But there's two. Germ makes two things: Pollution and cream, because I don't want to wear a Pollution hat and a Pollution shirt. So I wear a cream hat and a Pollution shirt. Unless I'm wearing a cream shirt, then I'm wearing a Pollution hat. You know what I mean?
So you should start a second brand called Coffee. So then you could wear coffee and cream.
That's actually not a bad idea. But coffee, what does it stand for? What's the story?
I don't know. I'm not in the mood to make up acronyms right now.
I don't even want to tell you. I don't even want to tell you the story I came up with Mark before because it would ruin it for him. But we came up with a great. He wants to sell art. Okay.
His own or someone else's?
Both.
Okay.
If you know what I mean. And he wanted to come up with an idea that is so.
I need something to drink. I'll be right back.
Okay, go. He wanted to come up with an idea that would sell, and he isn't an artist in that way, correct? So it would be his first...
I don't know Mark very well, so...
Well, not an artist, he doesn't sell canvases, right? But can he come on the market with the first canvas and make more than one sale? Yes, he can. If the story is impeccable. And I don't know if you're watching this, I'm not going to ruin it, but if you're hearing this...
He's not going to Pacific Northwest the guy.
I'm not going to Pacific Northwest the guy, but... Just stay tuned because I'll probably unveil it at one point, or at least show Adam in the podcast what the idea is. Now, fuck it, I'll just say it.
Hey man, it's not me that you're not
stealing
stealing my ideas and putting them out there. Or not that you're stealing
They're
them.
not stealing ideas. It's like this is just an idea in its incubation phase.
So if it's still cooking,
so
if the bread hasn't risen yet, don't bring it out of the oven.
Well, I'm just going to share the recipe, and then I'm not going to show you the final result. But the beginning portions of the recipe is that this is...
See, I'm grumpy with my arms crossed. I'm like, this guy's giving away other people's secrets.
This is like... this is a scenario where even if you don't make art, but you want to make art, or you know someone that doesn't make art that wants to make art, I'm going to try and prove to you that it doesn't matter. That you can be a successful artist with just one piece and one good story.
Gary Vee teamed up with Iconic and released one piece of art.
No, I know it. I saw it today. That's how this all came about. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw it. And remember I said the clouds and the dirt? That's literally the piece.
Nice.
And they're really nice.
They are.
Because they're two and they're a duo, but he never shuts up about that, so that's his story. He already had it planned. Like, you know what I mean? The one that I'm planning, way more finesse. Mm-hmm. Way more finesse. It'll sell more than the clouds and the freaking shitty ass. Because his isn't interactive. The one that I'm planning with Mark,
just so
you know, interactive with a good story.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
What I'm trying to say is that a story is so important that you can be new to art and be a successful artist overnight with the right story.
That part I knew what you're talking about, but the specifics of this interactive thing, it's all a mystery to me. You'll have to stay tuned to GermDee to find out what's going to happen with all of that.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And you should be inspired too, because once you see it, you're going to be like, oh, damn, like, got to work on my story.
Wow, this is working on my story, man. Sitting in front of a camera at all is working on my story one step at a time.
True that.
You got to work on getting yourself out on other platforms. Because if Instagram disappeared, like it did yesterday or 2 days ago, what are you going to do?
Well, I went to Reddit.
Yeah, but you didn't have a fan base on Reddit already.
Yeah, you have 8,000 karma.
I don't know what that means either.
That means like people.
I'm not on Reddit, but I'm on 9 social medias.
I used to be on Reddit and I had a lot of karma, but that was back in the blog days where you got paid by Google Ads, and then they were pissed because you were using Reddit to funnel people to your website and you were making mad cash. So they used to fucking like put bots on you. So I lost accounts on Reddit because of that golden age of Google Ads where you were making money with your. I'd write about how to get your dick bigger. aliens that came and told the story of Earth to a fucking native man called the Terraphiles, and it was a free book, all kinds of things, just like whatever I thought was interesting at that time. But I don't know why I went, the social media blackout. You're right, and the thing that pisses me off about Instagram and why I was interested in doing this podcast with you is that you only have 15, the most effective portion of Instagram is its stories. Most people are scared to be in front of the camera. Even you are saying this. You have butterflies and stuff like that. So it's a good chance for you to stand out if you're willing to take the risk. With that said, so the stories are the best thing that Instagram has. The problem is that you got 15 seconds. You got to be able to be smart enough to make them link so that there's a consistent story. But then don't make the story too long because we live in an age where people have short attention spans. So I'm not a big fan of that. Because sometimes I want to say something to you. Sometimes I know you're on the other side of that phone and I want to fucking tell you something, but it's not the most effective thing for business at the moment, and I don't have Wi-Fi at home, and I know you're not going to like it if I have 16,000 of those little bars at the top. So I tell you a fucking joke, talk about a mystery box, and sign out. And that hurts me because, like, that's not really my true self.
And I'm the same way because, I've built my story writing. Writing on Facebook is how I built my social media following, really. I was only on Facebook for a long time, and when Facebook's algorithms changed, it almost put me out of business, and that's why I'm bringing this up, because having all your eggs in one social media basket is not a good idea. Ask anybody who was famous on MySpace. A lot of people who were famous on MySpace, once that went down, they lost everything.
Forget it. We know people on Facebook that went back to work.
Exactly. The same thing happened with MySpace. They didn't have the entrepreneurial spirit to rebuild on a new platform and do it all again. And that's why I'm building on all these other platforms, because if Instagram changes their algorithms and all of a sudden your stories won't be in that bar anymore unless you're paying, for example. If they do something like that, all these people who are building their Instagram reputations on their stories that are super entertaining, nobody's going to see them anymore. What are you going to do? So I'm not willing to put all my social media eggs into one basket. I would like to start doing stories on Instagram. I would like to do more video content, and I'm really grateful for this guy for ambushing me and, making me do these podcasts.
Well, this is the main thing, and we're at the end, so I can
What you guys don't see off camera is the mafiosos that have guns on me, and he's like, yo, bro, you gotta do this podcast.
It's pretty mafioso how we did it to begin with. But, no, I just want to point out that I don't even know now that we're at the end, I'd like to be a little bit more philosophical about why you do something like this, and that's in the moment it seems stupid, and in the moment it seems like, oh, it might be good short term and but when you really think long term about certain things like this, this is for like the culture, in the sense that people need to see artists and need to hear them in a human way, where I'm not trying to sell you anything. There's nothing, like, this is literally off the cuff. I have no plans.
Yeah, no,
but
we have
on
no plans when we start this.
On Instagram, as much as you might think I'm a dummy and stuff like that, I'm not a dummy. There's a plan. You know what I mean? And that's not what I want to be. I don't want, because some people come up to me in the streets, bro, and they talk to me with that energy, and it's like, cool, but like, I'm a fucking human, and like, I'm weirded out that you don't understand that that's like part of the shtick. It's part of the entertainment. And if you can understand that that's part of the entertainment, then you could see how you could do it too. But if you think that I'm fucking this mad hustler that's on all the time, then you're putting this weight on your shoulder and you're never gonna do it.
Yeah, no.
So by doing this, you're seeing that like the guy has a voice that's not the same, or whatever the fuck. Certain times, and we haven't touched on it yet, but you'll see a more fiery side of me and stuff like that.
This is my real voice.
You'll see some crazy shit in this scenario, and that's what I think is important. I think it's enlightening to certain people to see that there's a human aspect outside of the business aspect.
100%, and that's
because there's a business aspect to him too. If you're watching his thing, there's still a business aspect that you got to take with a grain of salt. Not that it means that he's good or bad. It's just like, that's his business side.
Yeah, I mean, like, long story short is a big one of my hopes for this podcast is that it'll make people who are fans of artists understand how hard artists work to make the art that you guys love. Because we really do. We really work hard.
And there's no off switch.
There's no off switch. It's
not like I was selling you fucking
we also spend a
underwear and I clocked out at 5 and I don't think about these underwear anymore.
We also spend a lot of time like alone in our studios or on our computers dealing with social media and stuff like that. Like the stuff we post on social media or at events and with other people, it's like, yeah, that's all exciting and cool. But, you know, remember behind the scenes, a lot of times like we're working on our computers or our phones or in our studio painting with music on, which is amazing. It sure beats being stuck behind a computer working for someone else doing spreadsheets and shit. But like, there's a lot of work that goes into what we do, and that's what you're honoring when you buy our art. You're not honoring necessarily like our just the object that we create. You're honoring all the work that goes behind it. You're honoring yourself too, because you're honoring the fact that you were willing to trade your hard-earned money for something that you really resonate with.
Let me make a powerful statement here. If you're watching this and you're at 54 minutes, then you're gonna know because you're gonna watch more. We're actually magicians, me and you, and you're gonna see some shit in these podcasts that's gonna prove to you that we make magic. And it ain't necessarily these paintings. We're gonna make fucking new kinds of magic. You're gonna fucking dye shirts and shit, okay? And you're gonna see it, and you're gonna start to wonder, they literally are fucking starting things from scratch over here as a joke, and it's successful. So can't you do it too?
Yeah, no, of course.
We're gonna make joke businesses. That's what I want to do. Let's make joke fucking businesses. And it's not even affiliated to us. That's a joke business.
Yeah.
And watch it take off. Watch it make 50,000.
Watch it make millions even, maybe. You know, like, I don't know.
But that's what I'd like.
Agree.
That's
like,
part of the thing. I would like to do those, like, we'll probably come up with it on the side. Like, we're not going to film constantly. But, you know, we fucking shoot ideas back and forth. We're going to come up with an idea. We'll share a prototype and we'll laugh.
Yeah.
Is it, you're going to fucking die?
We'll see. I don't think it should be you're going to fucking die. It should just be you're going to die. Because then it's kid-friendly and, you know, like... Because it's a very powerful message, and it's very true.
It could start a lot of conversations, and a lot of times, that's what, I've been selling shirts for over 10 years, that's what sells a shirt. Mm-hmm. Is the story, and the person's ability to tell their story, so the shirt is basically like this open ticket avenue that they're trying to fucking shoot in your eyeballs. Mm-hmm. Fucking ask me about this, you know? And that's pretty much what a shirt is.
Yeah, I mean, like, because... The other day we talked about, like, if you want to start a business, it takes, like, you know, a long time to grow it into something big where everybody knows about it and it's sustainable and, you know, it's like, that's a long journey to take. That's a long journey to go on.
But there's minor victories. A good story, you'll have your minor victories live.
Of course, there's always little victories along the way. But, like, for somebody that starts tuning in where we are now, for example, compared to people that knew us before I started painting, let's say, man, I had so many people that didn't believe in me. Literally everyone in my life told me I was delusional to think I would ever make a career as an artist. The most common thing was, Adam, people don't just become an artist when they're 31 already.
That's amazing, right?
So,
well,
I did.
Mm-hmm. 28. Mm-hmm. But I did.
I painted my first painting.
But let's be real, we
31.
wouldn't be doing this fucking podcast if it was like those, if it was at the beginning.
No, I wouldn't have anything to say. I wouldn't have anything to say that anyone would care about.
And the only reason that we have time to do this podcast is that we're somewhat successful, and that it's like we are allotted the time and space to do something like this, and also we think it's going to make us more successful.
And
that's
my intention, and it always has been and it always will be in my art career and anything connected to my art career. My intention is to make you go out there and do it today. Whatever your passion is, whatever you want to do. You want to start a business, you want to become a chef, you want to own a restaurant, you want to be the best real estate agent and better than Sirhan, whatever his name is, Ryan, or that $1 million listing dude. Like, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to be an artist, you want to be anything you want to do, whatever you want to do, whatever your passion is, there's so many steps that you can take to make it happen. And with the internet, usually those steps are a few clicks away, like the first steps.
And let's be real. I met people who...
Stop making excuses and go fucking do shit.
I met people who decided that they were going to grow cactuses for a living.
Cacti.
Killed. You destroyed me. cacti for a living. The guy owns 4 greenhouses full of cacti, sells all over cacti to everyone now. Any fucking store that has cacti, it's coming from him. So, people don't just become artists. If someone told me that they were going to make a cacti farm in Canada, I'd be like, all right, bud. You know? But you know what? The man's a genius because people need their cacti.
I collected cacti when I was a kid, actually. That's funny. They all died one summer when we went off on vacation, and the person we hired to take care of our plants way overwatered them. But yeah, I had like 20, I had a whole table full of cacti when I was a kid, so that's kind of funny that he brought that up. And I actually, one of my highlights when I was a kid, I was 7 or 8, and we went to visit my grandparents that lived in Windsor, Ontario, and there was a greenhouse not far from where they lived that grew cacti. And it was like, oh, wow! I was like, you know.
Okay, this is the thing. If you're doing your passion, that effect happens.
Yeah, whatever it is.
So if you're passionate about something, you owe it to the culture. That's why I'm saying, keep bringing it back to that. You owe it to the culture to do the thing you're passionate about, to render that effect and that emotion onto others. So that they walk in and they go, and then that makes them do it about their passions. And if we don't do that, then what the fuck are we doing in this video game called life?
I love the synchronicities that happen in this little podcast. Like, who the hell would have thought that we'd talk about cactus farm? I haven't thought of that little visit to that cactus farm
because it makes that cool banter.
Years and years and years.
Makes that cool banter.
That's
you
just
literally
cool.
You made the face of pure shock, and it made me think like, that's why you fucking grow cacti.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the person who's passionate about cacti knows that.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that there's specific people that freak out about cacti, and I know that about clothing, and I know that about art.
Mm-hmm.
The third thing, I'll figure out what it is eventually. Maybe it's
one of the best comments I think we got was I think it was Danny Rebel. What's his Instagram? Let's shout him out.
Danny Rebel.
The
Danny Rebel.
Is it? Double check.
This is why I got this.
This is why I hate Instagram. You shout out people and you end up shouting the wrong guy because there's a dot in the middle.
Oh my god, that was so fun. Okay, anyways. The feed. Look at my face, it's like glowing.
Anyway, what he said was, I don't remember exactly how he worded it, but he said, thanks for creating something for the art nerds out there. And for me, that was like an amazing compliment, because that's what I am. I'm an art nerd. I love art. I love learning about it. I love collecting it. I love making it. I love selling it. I love it when learning about other artists' journeys and learning about what makes them tick. And how they came up and what works for them and what doesn't and some of the inspirations behind their work. You know, it's being into art is like, it's a lifestyle. It really is. #artist lifestyle on Instagram, and you'll see thousands of people have that lifestyle or want to have that lifestyle. And I hope some of the things that we talk about, if you're one of the people that wants to have that lifestyle.
The real Danny Rebel. Okay, I thought he was lost in the DM. I haven't been searching.
Cool.
Okay, I'm not playing around here. It's hard to find people that messaged me 9 hours ago.
So it's at the real Danny Rebel. TheRealDannyRebel.
And you know, when I first met him, I thought he was just a great musician. And I found out that the boy paints like nobody paints. And that's crazy to have multidisciplinary like that. And
yeah.
Okay, this is what he wrote. This is what he wrote. He wrote this privately to me. I hope this is fine that I say this. Bigged up you and Adam on the podcast. Thank you for it. It made me feel safe on my decision to quit my job and do this full time.
I'll be honest, I
was shocked that you weren't already doing it full time, to be honest.
To be honest, so was I. I totally thought you were more... When I met you at... If you're watching this, I hope you are. I thought you were like more successful than me when I met you at Chris's.
I always think people are more successful than me.
It's true. That's a thing that artists have, I think. And that's why it's important that we always all stay positive. Because whether we think
tell each other when we're working fucking jobs.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, but...
like, boy, I'm fucking still working a job. And I'll tell you to stop doing that.
Yeah, like, honestly, for me, and I mentioned it last time and I'll mention it again, like, the biggest secret to making art your career is getting rid of the shitty cheese job. You cannot learn how to swim if you do not get in the water. No matter how many people show you, you move your arms like this, and you kick your feet, but if you're not in the water, it's all meaningless. You need to get in the water. We can tell you everything about how to make a business out of your art, but if you don't actually go make art and post it on social media and make a story about it and tell your story and maybe get a website, maybe be on multiple social media.
But maybe think about it like this.
If you don't do any of that,
maybe think about it like this. The person that you are on land versus the person that you are in the water are two different people, mentally. So when you're in the... Or I'm using your metaphor, right? When you're actually not working and your full time now is to sell art, you will post differently, you will talk differently.
That's true.
You will sell differently.
That's true.
So the person that you're thinking of but you're working a job, you're not the same person yet.
No.
So
Because you don't have your feet on the fire yet.
Yeah. Once you get put... And when your feet get held to the fire... Then you're gonna make.
Wait till you have bills piling up that you can't pay. Trust me, you'll figure out how to sell art, or you'll give up and go back and get a job, and that's it.
No, but we all know this. Pressure is a real motivator, right?
When
we procrastinated in school,
it should be a motivator,
right at the
and
end,
not a defeater.
Yeah, but like the old adage in school, right? You'd always procrastinate, and right before it was due, there was a good amount of pressure that motivated you to do that useless shit that they were gonna throw in the garbage anyway.
Me, I was like that.
Okay, but. So, some people would procrastinate too much and it would weigh over them, but there's a good amount of stress that you should be having. A good amount of stress is important in life, and I learned that with the 3D printer recently and the embroidery machine at the same time. Like, that set me into a manic state where I wasn't even sleeping, and I don't say it as a negative. I enjoyed it, and now I'm thinking about other ways to stress myself. It's not a negative stress because I'm not losing. I have a lot to gain.
The things that stressed me out the most when I was building my art business are the things that made me take actions that made the biggest difference. Because, like, say for example, when Facebook's algorithms started crushing my posts, and I went from 20% of my followers seeing my post to less than 2% of my followers seeing my post. That's a really, really, really big difference. That's the difference between 1,000 people seeing my post and 100 people seeing my post. That's a big difference. So when that started happening, I had no choice but to either be like, fuck Facebook and go get a job, or I could Google new social networks. And that's what I did. And now I'm on 9 social networks, and I still work full-time as an artist. I didn't go have to get another job and give up on my career because I think that would have crushed me. I kept it going because I was resourceful, because I had to be. I either had to be, or I had to, in my mind, give up. For sure, going back to get a job, and then, I could still quit that job again down the road, but once I would have gone back into that lifestyle of security and the weekly paycheck, and I could always rationalize it like, oh, I'm saving this money that I get from my paycheck to build my business again in 5 years, and then, oh, look, I have a TV that I want to buy, and oh, look, this comes up that I want to buy. Who knows if I'd ever build the business with that money?
Because you've been thinking differently.
This way, I'm guaranteed that I'm always building my business, and when I have hard times that are stressful, I overcome them. I find ways to get out of them because I have my full 8-9 hours that I'd be at work to think about how to get out of those situations.
Don't think that you're the only one that has to deal with adversity, basically.
Oh yeah, no, everyone does.
Everyone's dealing with adversity. Being adaptable is the only way to get around it. Don't try.
You're an artist. You're creative. Find ways to get out of it. You're a creative person.
But don't try and plow through it. Be adaptable. In this situation, Facebook wasn't allowing him to reach anywhere near 1% of his fucking market. Don't fucking pay them to show it to people in Zimbabwe. Don't fucking bash your head on a wall. Adapt. Go around it.
I tried that. I did try.